I, as I look around the room and I see so many friends here, um, I don't think it's necessary for me to introduce myself, but let me welcome colleagues at the head table. The Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Food Production here in Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Joan Hannibal Phillips, Mr. Patrick de Groot, President of the Caribbean Poultry Association, Dr. Desmond Ali, Executive Director of the CPA, representatives of the various governments who are here. And let me at this point apologize on behalf of the Honorable Devon Maraj, who is the Minister of Food Production in Trinidad and Tobago, who was called away on state business and sends his apologies for not being able to be here this morning. Members of the poultry industry, and I see people from our customs in Trinidad and Tobago, see people from the university, our chief veterinary officer, other people from the Ministry of Food Production. I don't think I could call the name of everybody here. So let me say, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to welcome you today to this celebrating 50 continuous years of service by the poultry industry in the region. I think there are a lot of people here who know a lot more about chicken than I do, so I am not going to make too much long remarks other than let me at this point invite Mr. Patrick de Groot, who is the sitting president of the Caribbean Poultry Association. Patrick, I think this is second time around. Yeah. And Patrick is from Guyana, and his business is Bounty Farms, an integrated operation. And Mr. Patrick de Groot is going to bring us some opening remarks. Patrick?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman Karakan, PS of the Food Production of Trinidad and Tobago, Joan Hannibal Phillips, featured speaker, Professor Karen Christensen, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Public Service of Trinidad and Tobago, the board and members of the Caribbean Poultry Association, speakers at this symposium, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure as President of the Caribbean Poultry Association to welcome you here to this historic occasion as we meet to celebrate 50 years of the Caribbean poultry. This industry, which had very humble beginnings in the early 1960s, was driven by the initiative and imagination of a few pioneers across the region, of whom our very own Mr. Robert Levy of Jamaica, who is here with us today, was one. The industry received much support from our various governments, who, on achieving independence, saw and appreciated the need for food security, industrial growth, employment, and social-economic development. Over the intervening years, the industry grew by leaps and bounds to become the success story of agricultural development in all our CARICOM countries. In some countries, the growth was led by table eggs, in others by broilers, and in others by both table eggs and broilers simultaneously. Today in 2014, our industry is the single largest supplier of competitively priced animal protein to the diets of Caribbean people and visitors to our shores. The industry has been quick to adapt new technological development in our various production processes, and I can safely say that we are as state-of-the-art as you would find anywhere in the world. In the past 50 years, Caribbean poultry has come of age and ranks with the best in technology, productivity, and competitiveness. Were it not for subsidies in the EU and Canada, residual parts in the US, sanitary and phytosanitary, and technical barriers to trade measures in overseas markets, our industry's products can hold their own in any market. We have not been standing still, nor have we been resting on our laurels. We continue to make new investments in people, technology, and research. We continue to seek to regionalize our industry by searching for new opportunities for interregional trade. Guyana has, for instance, replaced much of our non-regional corn purchases by corn purchases from Belize, despite the many constraints that we faced as we commenced this relationship. Our colleagues in Jamaica have made new investments in Haiti, and we continue to delve deeper into regionalism. We are looking outside the region since we have unique value-added products that could have demand outside the region in metropolitan markets. But in this, we face many challenges that call for support and negotiations at the level of governments. In this age of the WTO and bilateral agreements, we can only face the future holding hands with our governments. The support of the state is absolutely crucial if we are to move forward. The formation of the Caribbean Poultry Association in 1999 was a huge step forward as we look towards the future. Again, Mr. Robert Levy was one of the major players in this initiative. Knowledge sharing and exchange that this initiative promoted were instrumental in yielding significant dividends performance-wise. We now know that strong social organization is essential for future development. As an association, we can develop strategies and common understanding that benefits each member, especially as we negotiate with government and with trading partners. As an association with a common understanding of our role and our future by our members, we are in a better position to face the future. I must say that the CPA has been blessed with the choice of chief executives. As we celebrate the past and recognize our pioneers, we now look towards the future from a position of strength which we did not possess 50 years ago. Our industry will continue to be the subsector leader in agribusiness, and we shall continue to deliver food security and customer value in the future as we have done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick de Groot, President of the Caribbean Poultry Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Patrick summed it up nicely. I think it's important for me to restate at least one of the things that he has said. Where poultry and food security is concerned in the region, and the poultry industry has really evolved in the last 50 years. Certainly here in Trinidad and Tobago and for many other countries in the region, it is the number one source of agricultural GDP. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, it exceeds 60% of agricultural GDP. And it is an industry of great economic importance. So it doesn't just provide food security, but it provides job security in many of the countries in the region. And I thought it was necessary for us to, for me to restate that, because it is a fact that sometimes goes unnoticed. We're going to have a little change in the program. We're going to ask the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Food Production, Ms. Joan Hannibal Phillips, who is representing the Honorable Minister of Food Production, to now deliver the address. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Joan Hannibal Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Carl Khan, Chairperson of today's proceedings and Chairman of the LLP Board. The Honorable James Paul, MP for St. Joseph West, Barbados Government, and CEO of the Barbados Egg and Poultry Production Association. Mr. Patrick de Groot, President of the Caribbean Poultry Association. Dr. Desmond Ali, Chairman of the Caribbean Poultry Association. Dr. Karen Christensen, Center for Excellence in Poultry Science. Members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Firstly, I want to make apologies for the absence of the Honorable Minister, as he has been unavoidable called to attend to other parliamentary commitments. One of the objectives at the Ministry of Food Production is to provide quality goods and services cost effectively and reliable to the satisfaction of our clients in support of the competitive and sustainable livestock subsector. This aim, ladies and gentlemen, greatly complements some fundamental goals of the Caribbean Poultry Association. Some of these include the need to improve the competitiveness of the industry and also the importance of partnering with all stakeholders to improve public sector services to the industry and by extension increase the level of productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, other critical issues entails the need to promote trade and domestic policies supportive of the industry's development. Hence, in 2011, the Ministry of Food Production partnered with the Ministry of Legal Affairs in an attempt to create a committee that assisted with the poultry industry matters. Upon its inception in 1999, one of the focus of the Caribbean Poultry Association was to promote and represent the industry at the national level, regional level, as well as international levels. The Ministry of Food Production acknowledges the need to facilitate and support such an objective through the provisions of license for importation of poultry livestock, rearing and breeding. The ministry is lending support to all the regulations on these matters in an attempt to foster balanced growth within the poultry sector. The regional poultry industry is the single largest contributor to agricultural GDP, and it's estimated that it contributes to approximately 65% of the Trinidad and Tobago GDP. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that is an excellent thing, 65% of the GDP. So we should congratulate them for that achievement. The poultry production is growing rapidly everywhere for several reasons. These include the neutral characters of poultry meats, flexibility of use, ease of accessibility, and the generator of small business entrepreneurship. The various methods of preparation, ladies and gentlemen, speaks to the flexibility of use. For instance, in Trinidad and Tobago, most households, including myself, prepare and consume either curried or stewed chicken on a weekly basis. And we know the children love chicken instead of fish. Investment in the regional industry exceeds US $450 million. And the industry continues to invest significantly to ensure competitiveness. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Food Production recognizes the importance of the poultry industry in our society and continues to strive towards a greater partnership and further support. As we continue, ladies and gentlemen, to implement strategic measures to make Trinidad and Tobago a food secure nation, it is important to understand the role of the poultry industry plays in our society. All these efforts, ladies and gentlemen, are in keeping with the Ministry of Food Production National Food Production Action Plan 2012 to 2015 for creating a food secure nation, as well as a long-term goal of reducing the food import bill from 4 billion to 2 billion in this fiscal year. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ms. Joan Hannibal Phillips, and for delivering that address and for recognizing the contribution of the regional poultry industry. This, ladies and gentlemen, would be a good time to say that we have representatives here from Belize, Barbados, and as Ms. Hannibal Phillips did, let me recognize one of our dignitaries' friend. I don't know if he's a political ally, but Mr. James Paul, who is well known to those of us in the poultry industry. James is the CEO of the Barbados Agricultural Society, but is also a member of Parliament. And James is one of the people you can always count on to be at these meetings. I was telling you the list of countries represented here: Guyana, Suriname, Jamaica. And I think I see some people from Trinidad and Tobago around the room. And, and I know for a fact that all of you are all very busy people, but you all thought this was important enough to come here today. Let me recognize some other people here, and this would be probably my last opportunity to do this. Ms. Wendy Lien, who is the chairperson of the Poultry Industry Standing Committee in Trinidad and Tobago, and Ms. Hannibal Phillips spoke a little bit about that committee in her address. Dr. Shambi Sessa from the Ministry of Health, Professor Ura from the veterinary school here at the University of West Indies, St. Augustine campus, Professor Pesty from the University of Georgia. I'm not sure Professor Pesty is here with us yet, but he'll join us shortly. Dr. Thomas and Escoban from the American Soybean Association, and I'm sure I would have forgotten somebody, but it's not intentional, so you'll forgive me. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to have our technical address, the journey then to now, wild birds to modern broilers and layers. And we have a very distinguished expert in the field, Dr. Karen Christensen, is that the correct pronunciation, who is an associate professor and extension specialist at the University of Arkansas. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Christensen, and let me welcome you to Trinidad and Tobago along with the rest of our guests who are here. And we hope that you have a warm stay and get to enjoy some of the hospitality that we're famous for, and cuisine. We love food in Trinidad and Tobago, and we particularly love chicken. Like the rest of the region, our per capita consumption is very high. Dr. Christensen graduated from Washington State University with a bachelor's, master's, and with a bachelor's and master's degree, and then went on to do her PhD at Mississippi State University. She has worked for many years in the commercial broiler industry in all areas of production, including litter management, ventilation, broiler management, brooding, and other aspects of the poultry industry. She has experience in the areas of technical